Those who dare not take risks will achieve nothing. Courage is not the absence of fear, but the willingness to act in spite of it. Napoleon Bonaparte, a man who reshaped the world through sheer audacity, once declared, "He who fears to risk will accomplish nothing." This is not a gentle suggestion, it's a challenge, a call to arms for those who dare to dream big. Imagine a life where every decision is safe, every step calculated to avoid failure. You might survive, but you'll never conquer. Napoleon didn't just lead armies. He led with a mindset that embraced the unknown, turning uncertainty into opportunity. His strategies were bold, his victories legendary, because he understood a fundamental truth: great rewards demand great risks. Picture him on the eve of battle, outnumbered, outgunned, yet unwavering. His genius wasn't in avoiding danger, but in mastering it. The world bows to those who step into the storm, not those who cower from it. To live by Napoleon's philosophy is to reject the comfort of certainty and embrace the fire of possibility. Risk is not reckless, it's the currency of greatness. Will you pay the price, or will you settle for a life of nothing? Consider Napoleon's campaign in Italy in 1796. At just 26, he took command of a ragged, underfunded French army facing a superior Austrian force. The safe choice? Defend, retreat, survive. But Napoleon chose risk. He struck fast, divided his enemies, and turned impossible odds into a string of victories. This wasn't luck, it was strategy forged in courage. He saw what others didn't. Hesitation is death, but bold action creates destiny. Every great achievement in history follows this pattern. The inventors, the explorers, the revolutionaries, they all bet on the unknown. Safety breeds mediocrity. Risk births empires. Think about it. What separates the extraordinary from the ordinary? It's not talent or resources. It's the willingness to act when others freeze. Napoleon's words cut through excuses. If you want to achieve something monumental, you must embrace the possibility of failure. There is no middle ground. The path to greatness is paved with uncertainty, and only those who walk it will taste victory. Ask yourself, are you playing to win or just playing not to lose? Risk is the gateway to success because it forces you to grow. Big goals require big leaps, and leaps demand courage. Imagine you want to build a business, change careers, or chase a dream. Staying safe or sticking to what's familiar keeps you stuck. You'll never know your potential until you test it, and testing means risking failure. Napoleon didn't conquer Europe by playing it safe. He rewrote the map because he dared to act when the stakes were high. Success isn't guaranteed, but inaction guarantees nothing. The world rewards those who move forward despite uncertainty. Think of every major breakthrough: the first flight, the internet, the moon landing. Each was a gamble, a defiance of the status quo. Risk isn't just necessary, it's inevitable. If you avoid it, you're not avoiding failure, you're avoiding growth. The truth is, the biggest risk is taking none at all. You'll wake up years from now haunted by what could have been. Napoleon's philosophy demands you face this reality. To achieve anything worthwhile, you must step into the unknown. What's stopping you? Fear? Doubt? Those are just shadows. The real question is, will you let them define you, or will you define yourself through action? Let's break it down. Risk doesn't mean recklessness, it means calculated courage. Napoleon didn't charge blindly. He studied, planned, and then acted decisively. Success favors the bold, but it respects the prepared. Every time you hesitate, you give power to fear. Every time you act, you take that power back. The world doesn't care about your intentions. It measures your results. Napoleon's victories came because he refused to let fear dictate his decisions. He saw risk as a tool, not a barrier. You must adopt this mindset. Stop waiting for the perfect moment. It doesn't exist. Stop seeking guarantees. They're illusions. The only certainty is that inaction leads nowhere. If you want to live a life of impact, you must embrace discomfort. Risk is where you find your edge, your strength, your legacy. Napoleon's life proves it. Those who dare to risk don't just survive, they shape the world. So, what's your next move? Will you stay still, or will you take the leap that could change everything? Picture Napoleon at the Battle of Arcole in 1796, standing on a bridge under enemy fire, rallying his troops with a flag in hand. His army was outnumbered, exhausted, and on the brink of defeat. Retreat was the safe choice, the logical one. Yet Napoleon chose to risk everything. He charged forward, inspiring his men to follow, and turned the tide of battle. This wasn't reckless bravery, it was a calculated gamble that secured his legend. Napoleon's life was a masterclass in embracing risk, not as a roll of the dice, but as a deliberate act of will. He understood that greatness lies beyond the edge of safety. Every campaign, every decision was a wager against the odds. He didn't just face risks, he sought them out, knowing they were the crucible where victories are forged. Consider this. When was the last time you took a bold step, knowing it could fail? Most people cling to certainty, avoiding the unknown like a plague. But Napoleon's philosophy is clear. Those who refuse to risk are condemned to a life of insignificance. His triumphs weren't born in comfort zones. They were carved from moments of daring. The world doesn't reward cautionate bows to those who act when others hesitate. Will you follow his example, or let fear keep you tethered to the ordinary? Now imagine a life where every choice is safe, every path predictable. This is the comfort zone of prison disguised as security. It's where dreams go to die, where potential withers under the weight of routine. The comfort zone is a trap that promises safety but delivers stagnation. Napoleon knew this. He could have stayed a minor officer, content with a stable career, but he chose to risk failure for greatness. The comfort zone limits you because it keeps you small, unchallenged, untested. It's the voice that whispers, "Don't try, you might fail," or "Stay where it's safe." But safety is an illusion. Life is unpredictable, and clinging to the familiar only delays the inevitable. Think about it. Every skill you've mastered, every success you've earned, came from stepping beyond what felt comfortable. Napoleon's campaigns were never fought on familiar ground. He thrived in chaos, in the unknown. The comfort zone is your enemy because it robs you of growth. It's why most people never achieve their potential. They're too afraid to leave the shore. But here's the truth. The only way to discover what you're capable of is to risk discomfort. Napoleon's legacy screams this lesson. Greatness demands you break free from the chains of safety. So, ask yourself, are you living or just existing? What could you achieve if you dared to step out? The comfort zone isn't just a mindset, it's a thief. It steals your ambition, your courage, your future. Every time you choose the familiar over the uncertain, you reinforce its walls. Napoleon shattered those walls with every bold move. He didn't wait for permission or perfect conditions. He acted knowing the cost of inaction was far greater than the cost of failure. The comfort zone keeps you from taking that new job, starting that business, or chasing that dream because it amplifies fear. But fear is a liar, it tells you. Failure is the end, when in reality, it's the beginning of growth. Napoleon's risks weren't guarantees of success. They were bets on his ability to adapt, to learn, to overcome. The comfort zone convinces you to avoid risk, but avoiding risk is avoiding life itself. Look at the world's greatest minds known. Of them stayed comfortable. They embraced the unknown, knowing it's where true potential is unlocked. You're not different. You have the same capacity for greatness, but only if you're willing to leave the safety net behind. Napoleon's words echo through time. If you fear to risk, you'll accomplish nothing. So, what's holding you back? The fear of failure? The need for certainty? Those are shackles. Break them. Step into the unknown, and you'll find the version of yourself you were meant to be. Greatness is not born in the calm, it's forged in the storm. Napoleon Bonaparte didn't just embrace risk. He cultivated a mindset that thrived on it. To him, risk wasn't a reckless leap into the void, but a calculated dance with uncertainty. Picture his audacious crossing of the Alps in 1800, leading an army through treacherous passes to surprise the Austrians at Marengo. The odds were brutal, the terrain unforgiving, yet Napoleon saw opportunity where others saw madness. This is the essence of a risk-taking mindset. Seeing possibility in peril, strength in struggle. Developing this mindset starts with reframing how you view the unknown. Most people see risk as a threat, a reason to retreat. but Napoleon saw it as a battlefield where victories are won. To think like him, you must train your mind to embrace uncertainty, not flee from it. Start by questioning your fears. Ask yourself, what's the worst that could happen? More often than not, the answer is far less catastrophic than your mind imagines. Failure, embarrassment, those are temporary. Regret, however, is permanent. The world belongs to those who act while others hesitate. Napoleon's genius was in his refusal to let fear dictate his decision. He weighed the stakes, planned meticulously, then moved with unrelenting resolve. You can do the same. Begin small, take a chance on a new idea, speak up in a meeting, invest in a skill. Each step rewires your brain to see risk not as danger but as opportunity. Visualize yourself succeeding, not because you're fearless, but because you're prepared. The more you practice this, the more instinctive it becomes. Napoleon didn't conquer by accident. He trained his mind to see every risk as a stepping stone to glory. So, what's your next risk? Will you shrink from it, or will you seize it and shape your destiny? Now, let's face the shadow that haunts every risk: failure. Most people avoid risk because they dread falling short. But Napoleon knew failure wasn't the enemy, it was a teacher. Consider his disastrous invasion of Russia in 1812. He led 600,000 men into a frozen abyss, only to lose most of them to cold, hunger, and guerrilla attacks. A crushing defeat, yet Napoleon didn't crumble. He analyzed, adapted, and fought on. Failure didn't define him, it refined him. This is the truth about risk. Failure is not the opposite of success, it's part of it. Every bold move carries the chance of defeat, but it's what you do with that defeat that matters. Most people let failure break them. They retreat, convinced they're not enough. But those who think like Napoleon see failure as data, a lesson to sharpen their next move. Imagine you launch a business and it flops. Do you quit, or do you study what went wrong and try again? The greatest minds in history, Edison, Ford, even Napoleon, failed repeatedly. What set them apart was their refusal to let failure have the last word. To face failure like Napoleon, you must detach from the emotional sting. Pause. Ask, what did I learn? What can I do differently? This shift turns setbacks into stepping stones. Failure isn't a verdict, it's feedback. The world doesn't care about your success, it respects your resilience. So, the next time you risk and fall, don't hide. Stand up, learn, and strike again. Napoleon's life proves it. Those who dare to fail are the ones who ultimately triumph. Will you let failure stop you, or will you use it to fuel your rise? The world is full of dreamers, but only those who dare to risk become legends. Look at the titans of today: Elon Musk, who bet his fortune on Tesla when electric cars were a joke; Sarah Blakely, who turned $5,000 into Spanx despite zero fashion experience; Jeff Bezos, who left a cushy job to start Amazon in a garage. Each faced ridicule, doubt, and the specter of failure. Yet they risked it all and reshaped industries. Their stories echo Napoleon's audacity, his unyielding belief that risk is the price of greatness. Consider Napoleon's coronation as emperor in 1804. Crowning himself in front of the Pope wasn't just bold, it was a gamble that could have sparked rebellion or alienated allies. Yet he took the risk, cementing his authority and rewriting history. Success today, like in Napoleon's time, belongs to those who act when others waver. Think about it. Every major breakthrough, from smartphones to space travel, began with someone risking what others wouldn't. The safe path leads to mediocrity, the risky one to empires. Look at your own life. When did you last step into the unknown? Most people cling to certainty, fearing loss more than they crave gain. But Napoleon's words cut through. He who fears to risk will accomplish nothing. The Musks and Bezos of the world prove it. Fortunes favor the bold. So ask yourself, what could you achieve if you dared to bet on yourself? The answer lies not in dreaming, but in doing. Risk is the bridge between where you are and where you could be. Will you cross it, or stay stranded on the shore of what might have been? Greatness doesn't start with grand gestures. It begins with small, deliberate risk. Napoleon didn't conquer Europe in a day. He built his legend through countless calculated gambles, each one strengthening his resolve. You can do the same. Start by taking small risks to build your courage. Like Napoleon honed his strategies through early battles. Try pitching an idea at work, even if it might be rejected. Sign up for a course in a field you've never explored. Reach out to someone you admire, risking a cold reply. These micro risks train your mind to embrace uncertainty. Picture yourself as a soldier in Napoleon's army, facing a minor skirmish before the big campaign. Each small victory builds your confidence, preparing you for bigger battles. Most people wait for courage to strike, but courage isn't a feeling, it's a habit. The more you risk, the less you fear. Think of it like lifting weights. Start light, and soon you're handling loads that once seemed impossible. Napoleon's genius was in his incremental daring. Each risk, no matter how small, was a step toward domination. Apply this to your life. Say yes to an opportunity that scares you. Speak up when you'd rather stay silent. Act, even when the outcome isn't guaranteed. These moments compound, transforming you into someone who thrives on challenge. The world notices those who move with quiet boldness, just as it noticed Napoleon. So, what small risk can you take today? One phone call, one email, one step outside your comfort zone could be the spark that changes everything. Will you take it, or let fear keep you small? Risk is not a reckless plunge into chaos, it's a calculated strike, a move made with eyes wide open. Napoleon Bonaparte didn't conquer by chance. He weighed every gamble with the precision of a chess master. Picture him before the Battle of Austerlitz in 1805, facing a combined Russian-Austrian army that outnumbered his own. The safe move was to retreat, preserve his forces. But Napoleon saw an opportunity in the enemy's overconfidence. He feigned weakness, lured them into a trap, and delivered a crushing victory that shook Europe. This wasn't blind courage, it was risk tempered by strategy. To live by Napoleon's philosophy, you must learn to calculate your risks, not avoid them. Recklessness invites ruin, calculated risk invites triumph. Start by assessing the stakes. Ask yourself, what's the potential reward? What's the cost of failure? More often than not, the fear of loss looms larger than the actual consequences. Most risks starting a business, changing careers, pursuing a dream won't destroy you, even if they fail. They'll teach you, shape you, propel you forward. Napoleon never acted without a plan. He studied his enemies, mapped the terrain, and moved only when the odds tilted in his favor. You can do the same. Research that new venture. Talk to those who've walked the path. Prepare, but don't paralyze yourself with overthinking. The world rewards action, not endless planning. Consider a simple choice, asking for a raise. The risk feels daunting, rejection stings, but calculate it. What's the worst outcome? A no that changes nothing. The best? A leap in income and respect. Napoleon's genius was in seeing that the real risk lies in inaction. So weigh your options, but don't wait for certainty it doesn't exist. Act with purpose, and you'll find the world bends to those who dare wisely. What risk are you hesitating on? Break it down, plan your move, and strike. The victory you seek is closer than you think. Now, hear this. The life you want is waiting on the other side of your comfort zone. Napoleon's words, "He who fears to risk will accomplish nothing," are a battle cry, a challenge to break free from the chains of caution. You're not here to drift through life, safe but unfulfilled. You're here to conquer, to carve your name into the world like Napoleon did. But conquest begins with a single step, a bold, deliberate act that defies fear. Imagine standing at the edge of a decision, a new career, a daring project, a dream you've buried too long. The safe path whispers, "Stay put, don't rock the boat." But safe is a slow death. Napoleon didn't build an empire by playing small. He seized the moment, risked failure, and reshaped history. You have that same power. Right now, today, you can take one action that scares you. Send that email. Make that call. Say yes to the opportunity you've been dodging. It doesn't have to be monumental, it just has to be yours. Picture yourself a year from now. Will you be proud of the risks you took, or haunted by the ones you didn't? The world is watching, not to judge, but to follow. People are drawn to those who act with courage, who move when others freeze. Napoleon's legacy wasn't built on promises, it was built on action. So, let go of the need for guarantees. Embrace the unknown, not as a threat, but as a canvas for your greatness. Your empire, your legacy, your life, it's all waiting for you to claim it. But there's more to Napoleon's wisdom, secrets that can unlock even greater power. What other lessons did he leave us? How else can his philosophy transform your life? Stay curious, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell, and don't miss the next video. Head to our page for more insights that will fuel your rise. The journey's just beginning. What will you risk to become unstoppable?